The year was 1976. It was a great year if you're a sports fan, especially if you like boxing. And boxing was my father's favorite sport, and I wanted to be anywhere my father was. He was in the military, so I didn't see him very much sometimes, and anytime he was around, that's where I was. Where was he? Watching boxing. Who was on? The greatest fighter of all time, Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali was amazing, and my father did these funny things while he would watch any boxing. He would go like this. And I would just sit there and be like cracking up, like, I can't believe this guy. He's just so into it, you know, moving his head around as if he's Muhammad Ali, and he actually acted like a little bit. He was a little cocky, you know. And my favorite part was the end, where Howard Cosell would come on and interview Muhammad Ali and say, "This is Howard Cosell, coming to you live from Madison Square Garden. We got here the guy who calls himself the greatest fighter of all time, Muhammad Ali." Muhammad, what do you think? How was that fight? Well, Howard, you know, I just float like a butterfly and I sting like a bee. And that's my memory of fighting. My father just loved the sport. Kind of took a turn for the worse nowadays, but back then it was the best. I grew up in a military town, Colorado Springs, Colorado. My first passion for, besides fighting, well, except for I didn't fight, I just liked watching fighting. My second passion for sports was track and field. We lived across the street from our favorite neighbors, the Febres family. They were a family of 6 kids, 4 girls and 2 boys, and they all ran track. And I got to get babysat by them, so I would be there when they got their new shoes, and it was back when you got the spikes in your shoes that you screwed in. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. And my mom let us go to their track meets. And when it came time for my field day in school, in elementary school, I made sure that I was going to win that race just by observation. So I ran the race and beat all the boys. My mom got this great picture of me right in the front of the pack of boys. And what I learned from that is you can watch people do great things and learn how to do something that you didn't know you had an ability to do. And with fighting, watching boxing, the thing that I learned from being with my dad is you can be with someone and not speak and enjoy them just by watching them. Those are the 2 things I learned from boxing and running track. The next sport that was my interest, the youngest of the Febres family, he was a basketball phenomenon. He ended up being a professional. He was 6'4". He taught my sister and I to dribble and shoot. And that was back when Dr. J was cool, but also the Harlem Globetrotters. These guys were the best. I would love to watch them and listen to that song. And they had the basketball they would take on their hand and roll it in the back and all the way to the other hand, and then they would do the full court press where they would throw the ball to this guy, to that guy, and all the flair, and then at the end the guy would do this dunk shot, and I was like, that's me, I want to do that someday. But of course I'm 5'6". I was a point guard. And we moved to Florida, and I played basketball for 6 years. My coach, he was in a wheelchair. He was amazing. He would go up and down the sidelines and shout at us and say, get that play right, you know, get us to do the strategy that he was teaching us. But he was just so amazing that he would almost launch himself out of his wheelchair out of excitement and spin himself around and just be shoo, shoo, shoo. And I could see him when I'd be doing my 3-point shot, there he was, just like, ah, you know, just an animal in his wheelchair. I learned from that guy. He taught us, the whole team, not to be a ball hog, and I really like that. Don't be a ball hog, and work as a team. And I took that in my business career, I made sure that I always assisted people. I was somebody who scored high points and assists. I would throw the ball and watch somebody get the glory. That was my favorite thing. I didn't want to be the spotlight. My next favorite sport ended up being volleyball, and I played for 4 years in high school. Volleyball was amazing. We had these two coaches that got us to meditate and visualize winning. We were working so hard, diving for the ball, getting into the bleachers, almost crushing ourselves just to win district championships. And even though that never happened, the lesson that I learned from volleyball was that you could do great things and work really hard at it, but you may not get the prize at the end. So I learned acceptance. My favorite sport of all time is golf. Golf is my favorite sport of all time because I played all these aggressive sports in high school and middle school, and I ended up in playing golf. I don't know how I ended up playing golf, but I loved the whole concept that I could just go outside, eat peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, and be outside of school after being trapped in all day. And my coach was patient, he was kind, he taught us how to play the sport well. Well, not really, but I went from being the last player in the group to the middle player, so that's not bad. What I learned from golf is that you're patient and you can miss an opportunity if you get distracted. And my favorite thing was the contact on the ball. It was like a tongue click. And the swoosh in basketball and the setting in volleyball, all those soft touches. And in closing, I will leave you with this. Whenever you're finding yourself watching a sport or playing a sport, be the ball. Get in the zone. And look for the lesson in the game. Thank you. This is